Maxine. She was on her way home from church in the middle of the day after the noon service, of course, and was struck by a drunk driver in a most unusual situation. She has a tremendous story to tell, and today the drunk driver is no longer living. He died of cancer, but during the time that he was alive, her family ministered to this young person, and no bitterness, just compassion. But today I'd like for Maxine to share some of the things that happened to her and how she is today. Good morning, Maxine.
Hi, how are you?
It's great to have you with us, and you're walking and doing well.
Yes, I am. I'm a living, breathing miracle that God wanted to use me. And you don't understand sometimes why these things happen, but yet it did, and I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world because I had a chance to let God use me. And why He chose me, I don't know, because you just think, you know, He doesn't choose everybody, but He loved me enough to use me for one of His miracles, and I don't understand it, but I'm proud He did.
Well, let's start back with the day that you were leaving church. You were very tired, and you had simply prayed, Lord, I just need some rest.
Right, and before I could even get it out of my mouth, I heard screeching tires, and I turned around to look, and a car was coming towards me sideways because someone had stopped to ask if I wanted to ride, which was my neighbor, and he hit the other car. He was coming, and they estimated him coming about 75 miles an hour.
He was very drunk.
Very drunk. They well, the test showed him being have enough in him to be drunk twice, and he was coming sideways at me. And right as he got up to me, I said, "Oh my goodness!" And
there you were. What a face
yes,
for him to carry the rest of his life.
The rest of his life, and that has always bothered me that he had to see that before he hit me. But then I was knocked about 54 feet in the air, and I seen the stars. You know, you're always saying you see stars. Well, I seen the stars, and after that you could see the sky and everything. Then all of a sudden I seen a bright glow, and I says, "Well, I'm with Jesus," and I knew it was.
In fact, He was carrying you.
He was carrying me in His arms. It was such a beautiful feeling, and you know it was Him, and He just looked at me so lovingly, so caring. You don't think about your family or anything else like that because you was with Him.
Well, you know, people ask you, how did He look? What do you tell them?
I can't explain that. He was a spiritual being. You don't think about things like that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you don't. He had his head down looking at me. He was Jesus. I mean, you know, you just don't think of that. You're with Him. And it was beautiful. It was just a feeling that I'm looking forward to again. And
now, you were up in the air for 54 feet, and when you came down, how did you land?
I landed on my pelvis, and it was broken to pieces. And when I did that, when I hit the ground, it knocked the breath back in me. And
evidently, you were hit and died. Do you think that's what happened?
I believe so. Yeah. A few seconds after that.
Did you feel an out-of-body experience?
At the time I was with Jesus, yes. My soul left my body, and I could look back. My soul was looking back and seeing me in Jesus.
So you actually believe you died, and
yes,
then you were being killed?
I sure do. I believe that with all my heart, because I would have not have had the chance to see Jesus, and I didn't understand it then, but as time passes by, Jesus, he allows you to go back over these things and understand these things. But
now, when you actually hit, you crushed your pelvis. Your leg was almost severed from your body.
Right, and both legs was broken, and but one leg was just about completely off.
And that is your left leg, right?
Left leg, And
you told me something kind of gruesome, but I wish you'd share with the viewers. You said the blood that was coming from this left leg was
just spewing towards my face, and I just turned my face. I did not lose consciousness.
Were you in terrible pain?
No, I had no pain. I did not have. I felt very uncomfortable laying there. I lay there for a pretty good while because they had forgotten to call the ambulance. They called the highway patrol, but they forgot to call the ambulance. And
people were just in panic, in fact.
Right, And I lay there and talked to them. I prayed for the people that was around because they were so, you know, some screaming, "Oh, she'll never walk again," and stuff like that. And I prayed for those people that they wouldn't have an everlasting horror of seeing this. And anybody that I heard that had kids, I prayed not to let their kids to come up there and see that. And I knew that everything that was going on. And when I got to feeling clammy, I knew, I said, "Well, Jesus," I said, "Lord, I'm fixing to die." I was going to say that, but Jesus took die away from me because I could not even think of that word.
You couldn't think, you said, I'm about to,
and he just took the rest of it away. And
you said that some lady that you still don't know who she is came and prayed for you.
I was praying, Jesus, I need to hear somebody to pray. I says, God, I want to hear somebody pray. And all of a sudden, she appeared down at my feet, and she put her hand on my foot. And I'm not supposed to be feeling any of this, you know, because it's severed. And I felt her hand on my foot, and she prayed for me. When she finished, she stood up and she said she's going to be all right. And I looked at her and I said, thank you.
You focused in on her.
I focused in. I could see her, but the other people were sort of blurry. Now, I was so far gone that everybody was blurry, but yet she, and other people seen her too. So I'm not just saying it was just me. But if this lady is hearing this today, I would love for her to contact me if it's a person. If not, I believe it was an angel. And that's my feeling. And I've had others to feel the same way. But so if she is hearing this today and she knows it was her, I would love for her to contact me. And after that, when the ambulance drivers came and they told me what they was fixing to do, they picked me up. I passed out. I came to back in the ambulance. I was aware of everything enough that I could tell them my information, my blood type, everything. It was just like a card held up in front of my face. Every question they asked, I was spitting it out just like that. I also prayed for my sister-in-law that lived up the road that wasn't coming to that church to go back with me. She was there. She was in that ambulance with me. And my husband and boys was all at work. And as we was going up there, if he hears this, he looked like a big bear. He was real hairy and everything, you know, standing over me because they couldn't buckle me down or anything. But he would tell me when we turned that I was going to be all right. I said, I know it. And then the poor little guy from the paramedic was trying to put a oxygen over my face, and I kept pulling it down, telling him he was smothering me. And
when you got to the hospital, they had to cut your clothes off, and at one time or another, when did the terrible pain come? Did you have pain? I know one time you said you were crying out with pain. And
well, in the operating room, my pelvis was hurting me, and I said, oh Jesus, it hurts so bad. And right then it just went away, and I opened my eyes, and the nurse was standing beside of me, and I smiled at her, and she just shot off. I said, well, she wasn't very friendly. And then I looked down to see where she went, and the surgeons was all down there. I said, oh, there's a lot of green people there. And later she came to talk to me to tell me what had happened, and she wanted to know if she could ask me some questions, and she wanted to know if I talked to Jesus. I said, yes, all the time. And she said, well, can I tell you something? I said, yes. And she told me what I had said. I didn't know I had said that out loud, but I guess I did because she heard it. And she said it was just like a force that had just shoved her away. And she said the hair rose up on her arm, and she went down there and was talking to the surgeons, and she said, did y'all hear her? And they said, yes. And he says, she said, well, do you feel the environment? And they said, yes. And after that, when I was in the intensive care, I had my son, one of my boys, and my husband had walked out, and they just looked so down, you know, and I just had to pray for them and everything. And I reached out and I took their hands, and my husband was on the right hand, and my pastor was on the left hand, and I just started praying. The more I prayed, the stronger I got, the louder I got. I mean, it was just like, you could just feel the Holy Spirit in there, you know. At the time, I didn't know it. I just felt like I was just rejuvenated, you know. I didn't pray for myself. I said, Lord, I'm yours. You do what you will. I says, but whatever you do, just stand by my family, take care of them, and uplift them. And when I said, in Jesus' precious and holy name, from the top of my head to the bottom of my feet, and I had 65 pounds of weight on me, hanging from my legs, and everything shook. And you could just hear the things a-clanging. And I opened my eyes. And they wasn't there.
You thought it was your husband and your son, but it was not.
It was not. I found out later when I was talking to my pastor. I asked my husband and asked the pastor, and the pastor had never even went in there because he couldn't handle it. And he said no. At that time, Charles Mims was our pastor. And I talked to him, and about the time I was talking to him about it, it hit me. Jesus revealed to me it wasn't him, it was Jesus and my Father, my Heavenly Father that was standing there. Well, I had stated when I took their hands that, gosh, Charles's hands are so big. And I just remembered all that, you know. And then going on and getting home, well, I told him I would walk out of the hospital.
Now, they tried to amputate your leg, but your husband would not let them.
Well, no, that's not. The doctor went out there and told him, he says, we're going to have to amputate her leg. He said, I'm going to let God take care of that. So I have my leg. I have pins and I have stapling, you know, all together. But I have my leg. It's very painful. It doesn't bend but just so far. I have to prop it a lot. But I am walking, and I do have it. And
other than that leg, are you getting along all right everywhere?
My pelvis gives me a lot of trouble, and there's a lot of pain, but then I'm glad I have it. My legs, you know, and everything, but then it could be worse. I couldn't have it. And
you share your testimony quite a bit in churches and everything. Now, you got to witness to this young man that hit you.
I got to talk to him, yes, I did. I talked to him, I showed him my legs, and I showed him the pictures we had taken in the hospital. And
did you share with him the miraculous intervention of God, do you believe? How did it affect him?
He didn't say anything. He said, I'm just sorry it happened. I said, I am too. I said,
was he prosecuted in any way for doing that?
He was just as a drunk driver. They couldn't get him for anything else because the highway patrolman had waited a couple of hours to see if I was going to die, because when I got to the hospital, my vital signs was 26 over 0 and nothing.
But now, actually, back then, they didn't have quite as stringent DUI laws as they do today.
And I just, you know, I just couldn't blame him. I couldn't blame anybody that was involved in it, because my life is too precious to me to worry about things like that and to hold a grudge. I'm going to let Lord take care of the things like that. And the doctor said I would not be able to go back to work at least for a year. I went back to work at 8 months, and I wasn't ever supposed to. I wasn't supposed to be alive. I wasn't supposed to walk. I wasn't supposed to have but one leg. Wasn't, you know, all these things. Well, God knows what He was doing. He was in control. And my doctor admitted that there was nothing they could do, that they did. That was the reason why I was still living today, that there was a higher power. Well, I could not get my balance and could not walk for at least 8 months, because I had to learn how to walk all over again. I didn't realize you bent your knees when you walk. And when the doctor told me I could go back to work, well, I was on crutches. I was standing that day. I couldn't get my balance. I said, Lord, what am I going to do, you know, if I fall or something other? I says, show me what you want me to do. And then all of a sudden I just lifted my crutches up and I took 3 steps, and I was so flabbergasted. I just sat down on the side of the bed and thought, this couldn't be me. When old Dothan Thomas had to get up and try it again, you know, and I did. When Frank come in that night, I walked to him, and he said, you shouldn't be doing that. And I said, yes, I should. The Lord let me do it. And in different phases of all this, I had to call on God a lot, because it was rough, you know, going to therapy. I had to go to therapy for 6 months, 3 times a week, and then once a week, and then up until about a month before I went back to work. And the doctor let me go to work only because I could sit. And I went back sitting, you know, and I just made my own hours and stuff like that. But then it helped me to get back.
Well, God has really done a work in your life, Maxine. She still shares her testimony if you'd like to contact her. And she has a ceramic shop, which we'll have to cover. She's very talented. That's a new talent God has given her. Her number is 677-7265 if you'd like to call and talk to her. Maybe you've had, we're way over our time, but we just wanted to get the story in, so the guys have been saying, hey, Tom's ready with the news. But Maxine, thank you so much for being with us today. God bless you.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing with us this wonderful story. And we do appreciate her coming out and sharing with us.
Thank you.